It's Kristin from the Arcadia branch of the Community YMCA. I just wanted to take a couple seconds to introduce myself to you and then talk to you about what we're going to do today. We are going to do a cardio and weight HIIT workout. If there's something that doesn't feel right in your body, please don't do it. As always, there are tons of modifications that you can do. I will throw some out to you. If they don't work for you, go ahead and pick something that may not be exactly the same, but it's something that you can manage and will get right along with it. Today's format is going to be A, B, A, B, A, B. So what that's going to do is we're going to have two different exercises that we were going to repeat first and second 3 times through. After that, we're going to do a 1-minute core drill, move on to the second set of 2 exercises. We'll repeat that through 5 times. You will need water, a towel if you get sweaty, and some weights. If you don't have weights with you, feel free to look around your house for soup cans, jugs of water, bottles of water. There are lots of things hiding in your home that you can use as substitutes. If there's something that, for example, we will be doing a weighted bridge, so we'll be having a weight on our hips. If you have a backpack that you can fill with different books or whatever, that will work as well. So just get creative. If you need more ideas, reach out to anybody. There are a bunch of, even if you look online, there are a bunch of different people who have posted creative ways to make this work for you. Our timing is going to be 45 seconds of work, 15 seconds of rest. And if in the beginning you feel like, oh, this rest is very long, just be patient with it, take it. Now you want it to be an active/moving rest. So you don't have to be doing jump rope in the meantime, but you want to make sure that you continue to move through that rest so your muscles don't seize up, making it harder to start moving again. Other than that, I think that we've got everything covered, so we're going to start with a warm-up. Again, those of you with knee, hip, back, neck, shoulder injuries, please modify. It is never a good idea to push yourself through something and only hurt yourself more. Do what you can do on any given time, and that's this right here in this moment. It's not the first rep, it's not the second rep, it's each individual one. So I always tell my friends, you're not married to your weights. If you grab a set of weights and you're working with 15s, and by the time you're 15 seconds in, they're really pulling you out of your form is more important than whatever weight you're lifting. Even if you drop down to no weights, as long as you've perfected that form or you're working to perfect that form, that's what you need to get started. All right, great. So we're going to start with a march. It doesn't matter if you have a right lead, a left lead, as long as you're marching along with me. Great. I want you to think about keeping your shoulders relaxed and down. So start analyzing what's happening in the upper part of your body. No slouchy shoulders forward. Bring them back and down. Good. You're not bringing your knees way up just yet. I want you to move a little lower in the body. What's happening to these shoulder blades in the back? Are they active and pulling down toward the hips? Good. Belly in. In 4, 3, 2. We're going to low kick to the front. So kick. Good. You pick up the knee first, and then extend. Pick up the knee first, and then extend from the knee. Right? You're not going to just straight hinge from the hip here. Knee and then extend it. Good. 8, 7, 6, 5. We'll do lateral tap outs in 2, 1. So take it to the side. Good. If you don't like working your arms just yet, that's okay, but you're gonna want to work them because warming up the upper half of the body is important too, right? We don't want to keep it cold. Press, press. Press, still paying attention here. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We're going to come back to the front, high knees. Good, here. Dorsiflexion on those feet, please. That's your toes coming up to the sky. Good. So you're trying to keep your hands right here to start, just to try and give yourself a reminder that you're pulling those knees up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. You're going to take your arms overhead, pull them down. Reach, pull. Good. Nice. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Back to that march. Good. Nice. You can feel that heart rate starting to climb just a little bit. Breath is getting a little harder. Good, you're doing great. In 4, 3, make sure you got space beside you. We're gonna step touch. Good, warm up that lateral motion. 4, 3, bring those heels back. Good, make sure you're nice and strong, especially through that lower back. Arms come up, pull them down. Squeeze the shoulders together. 4, 3, you're gonna reach across and in front, bring the arm over. Now notice what's happening with my leg. You got a little bit of rotation there, so you support the spine. 3, 2, march. Here, nicely done. Feet hip width. Ready? We're gonna take a squat. Down and up. Now I'd love for you to pay attention to where your weight is in your feet. Go ahead and root down through the heel. I like to wiggle those toes, making sure I'm not gripping down. Nice. 8, 7, squeeze at the top. 6, nice. 5, chest stays lifted. 4, 3, 2, 1. Give me one more, stay down. Shoulders relaxed and down. Wiggle those toes. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, shake it out. All right, so your first set of 2 exercises. Gonna be an upright row in a sumo squat stance, and then fast feet. So I'm gonna talk about what that first exercise looks like because I want you to do it correctly. Sumo squat stance is not your traditional forward toes regular squat. Sumo squat, feet a little wider, toes turn out 45 degrees, all right? You're still thinking about rooting down through those heels, okay? Here's your sumo squat, engaging those inner thighs, pushing those legs back. Don't let them collapse. A way to check and make sure that you are not too close is to come down. See how my knees are tracking way past my toes here? Don't want that. All right, so your upright row, we're gonna have weights in our hands. It's gonna look like this. You don't wanna bring your shoulders up by your ears, keep them relaxed and down. We're going to squat with this movement. Now, depending on shoulder injury, stiffness, you might not be able to get all the way up. It's not a flat arm movement. Those elbows are up by your ears while the hands stay around the breastbone. If that range of motion doesn't work for you, coming up, making sure those elbows stay in that V position, only to here is perfect, all right? You do what you need to do to modify this. Again, choosing a set of weights that you think might be right for right now, it might not be for the whole time, but we take it each rep at a time. Okay, now adding to the fact that we are compounding this movement, so it's not just this upright row, we have the squat with it, all right? If you don't like the compound movement, do your squat, then row. Squat, then row. You have levels that you can take it at. We're gonna start our timer, 45 seconds. You're moving as quickly as you can with proper form. That's a big little inclusion there. Absolutely with proper form. Slow it down to wherever you need to slow it down to maintain that proper form. Ready, set, here we go. All right, no, yes, good. So we are here. Now, I like to exhale when that exercise requires a little more effort. So that might be there for you because we're doing arms and legs at the same time. You're working all the time. So as long as you're breathing, you're fine. Good. Don't forget, you can modify legs, then arms. Legs, then arms. Good. You're doing whatever you can do for 45 seconds. Put those down. We've We've got 15 seconds, and then we go into fast feet. Good, take a second, catch that breath. Make sure you're not just standing there. Now just squat down just a little bit in those knees. Shoulders back and down, belly in. Friends, keep going. Everything is gonna jiggle. It's all gonna jiggle. That's okay, as long as you keep your belly in, shoulders down. I want you to think of this as a snare drum. It's not a big bass drum, right? You're not picking those feet up. You're keeping them nice and close to the ground. Just about 10 seconds left, keep going. Ooh. 3, 2, 1. Very good, good push, guys. We can repeat that twice more. You have to get those weights again. Good. Now, when you're doing this row, you gotta make sure that you're pulling up, like you're zipping up a jacket, yeah? Zip up, zip up. The squat, pressing down through those heels. Don't take it in the toes. Down, press through the heels, press up, down, up. You don't want to start tilting forward. That's a big mistake I see. Keeping this breastbone lifted during that squat. Good, you can take this whatever level you need. You just want to do the squat, just do the squat. You can do the squat with the addition of those weights, and just adding that extra load is going to increase how hard this is. Whew. Feeling good already, right? Nice, back to that second round of fast feet. Here we go. Nervous I'm gonna knock that over. Let's hope not. That'll go for the blooper reel, right? Stay in control of your breath. You're gonna start breathing hard, that's fine, that's great. It means you're working. But don't let your breath become anxiety. Sometimes you hear that breath start to heat up, right? And your brain goes, oh gosh, no. It's okay, stay relaxed, it's good, it's good. Good. 10 seconds left. You feel it in your calves, right? Yes. Whew. Shoulders back and down. 3, 2, 1. Good. Keep moving. We got our last round. That upright row sumo squat combo. You're doing great. Sweating already, right? Keep these weights glued together here, yeah? Don't separate them, keep them together. Your legs getting tired? You can do a couple of rounds of just row, then come, bring it back slowly, then add it together. 7 seconds. Nicely done. Oh. 5 seconds left. 3, 2, here it is. It's your last time through this. Make it count. Fast feet, not medium feet, not slow feet, right? It's okay if you don't start out as the same pace you finish at. It's as fast as you can at any given moment. You're not disengaging anything here. Shoulders back and down, belly in the front. Just about 10 seconds left. Good work. 3, 2, 1, and rest. We come down for 1 minute of core. All right, so we're gonna do leg drops. Now, if your heart rate went crazy high, take a second, get this calmed down. You don't wanna go from high to forcing low, all right? So, leg drops. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have our legs right up in the sky. A lot of times I see people put their hands underneath their lower back. What I'm gonna tell you today is, personally, I find that disengages your muscles that need to be engaged because you kind of are giving it a crutch. So what I'd like you to do, if that back starts to pop up off the ground, that's okay. I need you to modify your range of motion. Instead of coming all the way down, you don't have to touch the floor. This isn't about what I can do. This isn't about what your neighbor can do. It's about what you can do safely. And so if you were to pick up a pair of weights, right? And you go, okay, 5 pounds looks great. And you look over and you see that person over there lifting 50 pounds. You're not gonna go grab 50 pounds just because they are. You're gonna grab, I mean, you might go for 10, but you're gonna stay with what you can manage, so one day you can go grab those 50 pounds, right? Same thing here. Keep your hands to the sides of your hips, palms facing down, but actively pressing down. By actively pressing your hands down, you're gonna engage this piece of your core, which is really, really helpful to this exercise, okay? So, making sure that back stays flat. We'll start out in a flat position just by the nature of the position on our pelvis, on our hips. So you're gonna maintain that connection and only go down as low as you can, alternating feet for 1 minute. You ready to do this? You were born ready. All right, feet up in the sky. Feel that connection here. I want you to draw the belly down to the mat. I want you to think about the relationship between your hips and your ribs here, all right? Pointed toes, flexed toes. For right now, I'm gonna tell you it doesn't matter as long as you get these legs moving. Ready, set, go. Down, up, down. Nice. Again, my range of motion is not your range of motion. Down, up. Doing this for 1 minute, your pace. Your pace can change. It's okay. I like to use that breath to help me. Gravity is helping me pull that leg down, so I've got to work against it to bring that leg back up. That's where I like my exhale. Down, up. Make sure you're resting on the back of your head. Your chin hasn't started to tilt up to the sky. You don't want any neck stress. Almost there, 8 seconds left. And stop. Great job. All right, we're on to the second set of 2 exercises. Guys, now would be a great time to take a sip. You want to stay hydrated. So we've got woodchop and we've got shoulder taps. Talking through these 2 exercises. If you know what you're doing, great. Go ahead and do them now. But for a lot of us, we don't know what we're doing quite yet. Wood chop, I'm gonna show you in a second because I'm already down on the ground. I'm gonna show you what the shoulder taps are. All right, so you are going to be ideally in a plank position, in a high plank position, and you're going to tap like this, taking one hand off the ground and tapping the shoulder. Now, the faster you do this, the less control you actually have, all right? So I'd like you to go at a slower pace, because if I was telling you to hold 45 seconds of a plank, you'd feel it, right? So this is a bonus. Now, feet wider on this is gonna help stabilize you through the pelvis. And stabilizing through the pelvis is important. I don't want you rotating those hips as you leave the ground with one arm. It happens a lot, all right? So actually, I'm gonna show you this way so you can make sure that you've got a good view of those hips. You take it up and down. What I don't want to see is this, all right? You're not pressing through for a rotation. Modifications are on your knees in a modified plank. A modified plank is not tabletop. On your knees, looks like this, all right? Those knees are gonna need to be wider. Tap, tap, tap. If all else fails, you can come to tabletop. Here, here. You're not getting the full dynamic muscle reaction and involvement that you are when you're in high plank, but if that's what you need to do to get through this exercise, that's a regression that's going to help you get to the next level. All right, and then wood choppers, we're gonna come up, you're gonna grab one weight, it's a decently heavy weight. If you're familiar with kettlebells, it's like a kettlebell swing, like a dumbbell swing. It's a hinge from the hip. And a hinge from the hip is here. My knees are still soft, they're not locked out, all right? So hinge, soft, and we're going to press forward. When we press those hips forward, you get some reaction here. Squeeze, press the hips forward. What you're not doing is coming down the chain and locking out the knees. That's bad business, all right? So you're taking one weight, and if you're familiar with me in the way I do my classes, we don't normally go above shoulder height. For this one, we're gonna take it above shoulder height, coming up. What I cannot have you do though, is flex back into your back, all right? This is bad news. So you wanna make sure all of this stays engaged, and if that, again, cuts your range of motion short, cut your range of motion short, and stay safe with your exercise. All right, so I've got a fairly heavy weight. I'm going to be holding this one weight in both of my hands. So keep that in mind when you check out what weight you're gonna pick up, all right? We go for 45 seconds, the 2 exercises, 3 times through. Ready, set, here we go. Pressing through those heels. Good. So you want to make sure you control it on the way down, right? This weight will drop if I just let it go. You want to make sure you're maintaining control. Keep those knees soft, grounded through the heel. I like my breath on this one. Keep that lower back nice and safe, guys. Slow it down to what you can manage, 4 seconds. Nice. We come down for those shoulder taps. 45 seconds is a long time. If you can't maintain it in plank, don't come to a modification. Good. Keep going. What I want you to do is take a look down. Are your hands forward or are they stacked underneath your shoulders? They should be stacked underneath your shoulders. If you're a person who gets wrist pain, that's okay, you are not alone. What I want you to do is think about gripping down through your fingertips. By doing that, you're gonna take some of the pressure off of this break in your wrist. Breaking in the wrist right here means that you've got all of that load right here on this joint. That joint's not meant to have all of that load. So squeezing down into your fingers, particularly into your thumb and down through your pinky, is gonna be really helpful there. Coming back up. If you're unsure because you've never done that last exercise before and you know what weight you need now, grab it. You're not stuck with anything. Feet hip width apart. Stay in those heels, guys. Don't be scared of what your breath sounds like, all right? Breathing means you're alive. Breathing effectively can be a make or break thing with your exercise. Just around 10 seconds left. Good, keep going. For any of you who have issues with maybe positional hypotension that's coming high to low, you can do a dumbbell swing, keeping that head up a little higher. Good, round 2. You feel nice, don't you? All right, taking those feet hip width apart. Now when I say wide, I don't want you to be excessively wide. You're not doing the splits here. Don't go any wider than you're meant. Tap, tap, tap. We're not rolling through with the hips, okay? I need you to also check, what are those hips doing? Are you coming up into a mountaintop position with your bum? All right? This is not going into downward facing dog territory. You want to make sure you are in a nice, smooth, flat line on that posterior chain of your body. Keep that core nice and tight. 3, 2, 1. Knees down. Nice. Last time through. Make sure you're still moving, still active. Good. Ready. From the side, right? Here, my back is flat. I haven't started to round forward and drop my shoulders. Keep them back, but make sure that doesn't start to sway your lower back. Here, press through those heels, drive it up. Again, you need to modify. That gets you a little more upright. 3, 2, 1. Put it down. You guys are doing so great. Hi. About 10 seconds left. Very last round of shoulder taps. Good. The other thing I don't want you doing is locking out those elbows. Some people are gymnasts, former gymnasts. You got those gymnast elbows. Make sure you keep them soft. And if softness to you means instead of rotating this elbow forward, I have it still fairly straight, but now it's inboard, that's good, all right? You got about 15 seconds left. If you don't believe me, and this is starting to get challenging for you, maybe open up those feet a little more. Maybe come down to your knees. 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Knees down, great. Now we pause and we have our 1 minute of core activity. Woo! Right, like that wasn't just core activity. That was a lot of core work. But this is specifically core work. And we're gonna engage these guys here. All right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to we're gonna do it a couple of different ways. I'll call it in the middle, all right? What we're gonna do is we're going to start out in low plank, forearms down like this. Traditionally, forearms are here. We're going to bring them horizontally, all right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a rotating side plank, open, drop the hip down, come back up to that side plank, and back to center. Coming to the other side, dropping that hip, coming back up, back to center. If you don't like the rotating back and forth, you can stay on one side doing those hip dips. 30 seconds in, I'll call it, and you can switch to the other side and do hip dips on the other side, all right? When you're rotating through, make sure those hips stay down and level. You don't want that bum to come up to the sky, all right? I get my timer on, my secondary timer. I've got timers everywhere. All right, 1 minute countdown. Ready, set, here we go. So we're here, we rotate. My feet are on the instep, and then on the outside of that foot, down, up, center. Rotate, I'm not doing anything with my feet. Down, up, center. Good, keep going. Halfway. Almost there. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1, knees down. Oh goodness, all right, round 3. We come back down to a plank position. And if you're going, wait a minute, that's not what I want to do. It's exactly what you want to do. All right, we've got modifications. Now, I'm going to say it again. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. The blue comes after the red, don't worry, we're not there yet. Because we are not just taking one exercise, we are taking multiple exercises and compounding them. We've got multiple components here. That means if I say, do a tricep kickback, right? This guy, you may go, hey, I can handle this big weight. Great. If I say you're doing that plus a row while in plank, whoa, 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 that changes everything. Don't be scared of the fact that you have to drop down. And maybe you don't mean scared. Don't be intimidated or be upset with yourself. Don't go with whatever regular weight you would do for tricep kickbacks because we're adding on. And no one part of this exercise is more important than the other. The overriding theme is that your form is the most important. So if you grabbing this big heavy weight is pulling the rest of your plank out of form, this weight is the wrong size weight. So it's important to not just think about what body part is moving. It's really important to figure out what is stable and how stable am I? How good is that form? All right. Second thing we have is a flutter squat. It's one of my favorites. Hope you went to the bathroom because it's a little bit of jumping, which can get sketchy for some of us, right? Okay, so a flutter squat is we are down, we do a squat, we pop up, we bring one leg forward, one leg back, switch it, come back down into our squat. You don't like it? Modifications. Here, forward, here, back. Here, same leg, forward, here, back, okay? If that's too much for you, here, step forward, or here, lift a knee. Get some squats, get some motion in the leg, you'll be fine as long as you maintain form. 45 seconds, 15 rest, 3 times through, you ready? Oh, I forgot what was for plank, down. You can always change your weight. Oh, last thing. Some people will find I like having the weights in my hands. No problem here on my wrists, staying stacked in a plank on those weights. If you have sensitive hands, maybe some carpal tunnel, any neurological issues here, being on this weight for an extended period of time may not be something that's doable for you. You can do this with one weight, put it in the middle, put your hands on the ground, and then grab that weight as you need it. Put it down, put your hand down, grab it with the other side. You'll be a little slower, you'll be a whole lot safer, and you'll thank me for it, all right? Ready, set, here we go. Feet wide is gonna give me a little bit of stability. Those butts aren't up. We row, kick, in, down. Row, kick, in, down. Row, kick. Those of you who say, I can't do plank the whole time, down here. This is not the modification. This is modification number 1 with those hips down. Row, kick, in, down. All else fails, you can come to that tabletop position, which is hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Row and down. Row here. Now, because that's going to take your mind off of this, I need you to refocus on what that energy is that you're bringing to that core. Good. We're going to move onto those flutter squats. Put those to the side. You can do all of this, any of this, your way. Better than no way, right? Down, front, back, down. If you can think about switching leads, think about switching leads. Stay right on those feet. Stay engaged with the core. hip issues and maybe you don't want to extend forward and back, that double pop in the middle, center, this is good, here, center, tons of modifications on this one, guys. 9 seconds left. Very, very good. 4, 3, 2. Good, so this is working your triceps, right? Your triceps, here to here. Not up here, here to here. So you pull that elbow back past your body preferably, right? The weight's coming in to about the armpit. Then you extend back. If you cut this short, you're not fully utilizing this muscle. I don't know many people who are really happy with that muscle. Get it all the way. If that means you modify to a lower weight, modify to a lower weight so you get the full range of motion. Don't get something super heavy that you can only, go ahead and rest, that you can only lift so far. Really work on trying to get that full range of motion. Hi. We're officially halfway through. You guys are kicking butt. Good. Down. Now during this switch, you're on the balls of your feet. You're not on the heels of your feet. If you try and go heel in the front, you're not going to be able to do it in the back. But if you try and get those heels too involved, you'll wind up blocking out the knee. In this situation, that leads to really bad stuff. Paying attention here. Of course you are. Just about 10 left. Great. Water as needed. And we go. So we've talked about those feet, right? We talked about those feet being hip width apart, right? So if I'm in plank here, hip width apart, row, press, down, row, press. We want to keep the shoulders facing the ground. Now, if you want to make this harder, pull those feet in together to a narrow plank position. That's going to decrease your stability. Make this work on overload. Back here. It's really challenging not to rotate open through those hips. 3, 2, 1. Great. Final time through, I think. Right? Yes. You can make this harder by coming deeper into that squat. It's going to slow you down, but it's also going to require more power to explode up. Right here, doesn't take as much energy as there. There's a whole lot more range of motion. You're asking more muscles to be involved here, and now I'm working more body weight that I've got to press up into the sky. So you can modify this to make it harder by coming down lower into your squat. I don't want you coming booty to heels though, all right? That's not necessary. Really, if you think about sitting on a chair, you're doing great. Nice. And that was 3 times through. So we're gonna go for our 1 minute ab bicycle crunches. Bicycle crunches, you can lift the upper body, you can leave it down. If you like your upper body a little more elevated, but you can't quite sustain it for a minute, that's fine. If you have a yoga block at home, one of these little balls, a little towel that you can fold up, roll behind to support your head and neck, or even like a throw pillow from your couch. That would be good. Now, I talk a lot about back. When I was younger, I broke my back. It's not a good thing, but there are so many things that you can do to strengthen this, which is why I'm a very big stickler about back position, all right? We want to keep it safe. So during these bicycle crunches, if you find that lower back is popping off of the ground, you have gone farther in your range of motion than you can fully support. There's a big difference about what your range of motion is and what your range of motion is that you can safely support. So you want to hone that range of motion to what your form can support. And if that means that you're not dropping your leg down quite as low, you're not dropping your weight down, your leg quite as low. Keeping your back safe is really super important. All right, so we're down on the ground. Head for now is flat, resting on the back of your head. Your chin's not tilted up toward the sky. Keep it down so your eyes are gazing straight forward. All right, what we're gonna do to start is bring those legs up, pull the knees in. Your knees are in over your ribs. This is a restful position. This is an active position. So right now, we're having one leg pulled in. So if you would like, you can lift that upper body up off the ground. You're going to tilt your chin a little bit. You're going to think about tilting that breastbone down. You're going to hold on to one leg. It doesn't matter which one. You're going to shoot the other leg out, pointed toe. Now here's where that back comes into play. If I shoot it all the way down here and my back starts to come up off the ground, it's not what I want. Okay, so find where this position is for you. If it's up here, great. It doesn't matter. This is where your range of motion is. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong down here, okay? Go ahead and rest. That's what your feet are gonna be doing. If you don't like the rotation that we're gonna add for the upper body, don't add it, just stay there. That's a great Pilates move, and it's super duper effective. To add on to that, we're gonna take our hands behind our head, and we are going to be rotating through this way. So when that knee comes in, the elbow comes over, and it's important to twist through the trunk and not just hinge over here on the shoulder, pretending like you're getting that movement that you're not actually getting. All right, we've got 1 minute on my clock. Every rep counts. Nope, we don't have 1 minute on my clock yet. 1 second. I swiped and too much sweat is on my watch. Okay, ready. Set. Here we go. Now I want you to think about you have a wall on either side of you, and these legs have to stay within that wall, so your knees aren't flaring out to the side. Driving up, pressing down with that anchor shoulder. If the upper body is bothersome, if the neck is bothersome, you can have your legs be the only part of this is working. You can do 1, 2, come down, 2, up, 2, down, 2. Again, modifying the angle on your hip to make sure that that back stays completely flat to the ground. Just under 10. Keep that back flat. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, goodness. Great job. Okay, round 4. We have a squat with front raise row combo. This is something that's a lot of different movements. And if you get it wrong, you will be on a very long list of very lovely people who have gotten this wrong before you, and then there's a whole lot more room on the list for those people that will join you afterwards. So it's a lot, and I'm going to try my best to break it down for you. All right, what I'm going to tell you is a ventral raise, a front raise right here. That's a lot. It's a lot for a lot of people, and yes, it moves your arms. It's a whole lot of core too, okay? So with your arm, one arm at a time, as you squat, you're going to be lifting, rowing back on this plane, not dropping down here, elbow stays up, pressing forward and coming back down. So again, the arm is up, back, forward, down, then you'll go to the other side, up, back, forward, down. Now you're doing all of this while you're also doing a squat. Why? Because we can. Because it's gonna make for a really great compound movement that's gonna get your heart going, it's gonna get some weight involvement, it's gonna get a lot of joints working at the same time. A lot of bang for your buck, okay? So, I'm going to encourage you to grab a weight, right? Don't forget that this hand is not necessarily the same strength as this hand. So grab a weight, feel what this feels like on both sides. If that feels great, go for it. If it doesn't feel great, do your best to adjust now before we really get into it, and adjust as you go along. If you miss 3 reps, it doesn't matter. You keep your body safe. All right, trying. Good. Now, right? That's a whole different burrito, right? It's fine. We are going to do this together. Before I start, you're gonna have weights in both hands. Weight still stays in your heels. Sink back. You didn't tell me I'm gonna have to raise both of those weights. Yes, which makes it even harder. So again, if you need to adjust, adjust. You're not married to these things. Put them down. This is perfect without weights, okay? Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. We come down. All right. So all the way together, it looks like this. If I want to section it out, I can here. In some ways, that's actually easier because now I have to stay in this position for a little longer. If that means that you have to move down and wait, move down and wait. I say it. A lot of people need the permission. You don't need the permission. Good, we've got plank jacks from there. I know your shoulders are tired. It's okay, we're gonna do this in high plank. You can tap out if you need to, or just continue to do that jack with your feet. All right, so continue on there. I'm gonna show you modification, and then I'm gonna show you what not to do, all right? So your modification, out, out, out. If that's too much, you come to tabletop. Extend out, in, out, in, out, in, okay? This is great. Up here, what you're not gonna do is have that butt go for a ride with you. You're still in plank, it's still called a plank jack. Keep the plank first and foremost in your mind. Then the jack happens. Yes? Great. Coming up. Second time through this bad boy. Feet hip width apart. Stay weighted through your heels. I'm going to show you from the side here. Keep that chest upright, feet hip width apart. Modifying, down, row, press, up. You want to just do one arm at a time here, one arm at a time, and then do your squat. Great. Whatever you've got to do to get through this round is what you do. Perfect. Plank jacks. Love to hate them, right? All right. Don't forget what's going on with those hands. Pressing through those fingertips, gripping through your fingertips so you don't feel all of that stress. If this is the part of the exercise that breaks the exercise for you, We don't want that. You can come down onto forearms if you have a ball that you can elevate on. If you have an ottoman or a hassock, you can do forearms. If you're lucky enough to have a step for step aerobics, a step stool, you can elevate onto that. So you're at a little bit of an incline doing this. That's going to take load off of the upper body. I feel like there's so many things I want to tell you. Last time through this, you guys are killing it. Woo. Good. Try and find a pace, right? Now here, continue on. I want you to take a second, and you don't need to look down because that'll throw your form out of place, but take a second and feel your feet. They should not be turned out severely here. A little bit is fine, like a 20-degree turnout is okay. That follows in line kind of with your hips and your knees. But more than that, turning out to 45, 90, this is not what our form is with our feet. Hip width apart, you're not skier squat here, you're not wide squat. Feet hip width apart when you come down. Come, weight through those heels, press up here. Good job. We're going to put those out of the way. Come to our plank jacks for the last time through. All right. Careful of that bum. Good, if you need to modify a couple, then go back. Figure out a pace that's good for you. Modify, and 2, yeah. This exercise belongs to you. It doesn't belong to anybody else. You do what your body can support. Again, I'll say it over and over and over and over again. This is about you and what you can do in this moment. We've got about 10 seconds left. Three, come on, 2, 1, nice. You're gonna come down to the ground. All right, we got toe touches, and then we got one more set for you. All right, so your toe touches are great until they're not great, right? You can do toe touches, you can do regular crunches. It's all kind of the same thing, all right? So a regular crunch, which is starting different than what the exercise that we're going to do is putting your hands behind your head. Now when you put your hands behind your head, I do not want you to interlace your fingers because I don't want you getting into the habit of letting your head fully relax into those hands and then have your hands pulling your head up. That's not what I want you to do because that will lead to some neck injury. All right? Remember that your neck is an extension of your spine and you want to treat it as such. So here I'm going to take my thumbs, I'm going to bring them to the backs of my ears, and then my fingers are going to crisscross like this, but they're not going to lock together here, all right? So loosely just kind of interwoven. We're bringing up and down, making sure you know what's going on with your lower back against the ground, all right? You don't want too much flexing and rotation through that pelvis, tilting through that pelvis. Now, for the rest of you, we're going to bring those feet up to the sky. Dorsiflexion on those feet, that means 90-degree, maybe plus some angle, pulling those toes down toward your face, down towards your shins. You're going to reach and come back down. If that's too much, here, and then down here, all right? We've got 1 minute of it. Ready, set, go. Good. If you want to add a little bit of oblique work, those are these guys, you can crisscross. As you do that, my shoulder that's anchored down, I'm driving through that to rotate and lift with the other side. Now, a lot of people like to rush through these. You're still trying to get those toes every single time. So don't go, that's not what you want. Down, every rep. Count, reach, reach. Good job, guys. 15 seconds left. If you have soreness in your neck, again, head down, hands down, not head down. 3, 2, 1, knees in. Great job. All right, last 2 exercises. Weighted bridge with leg extension and a bear kick through. That's not anybody's favorite. So, for your weighted leg extension, weighted bridge leg extension, you're gonna have one weight and it's gonna go across your hips. All right, so if you have a weight and it's a metal weight and it's heavy, put a towel down. If you have a gardening mat even, you can put a gardening mat across your lap so the metal ends of the weight are not digging into your hip bones. All right, but you do want to have a rest there because you do want to have that increased load. If you have little balls like this, but they're weighted, you can use those. If you have a medicine ball, you can use that. You really kind of want to, instead of putting it right on the soft tissue in the middle though, you want to disperse it across the hips because the hips are obviously stronger than the internal organs below, right in that soft part of your belly. So something like a dumbbell or even one of those round plates are generally pretty good. Very early in the beginning of the video, I talked about a backpack full of stuff. You could have a backpack, a duffel bag full of stuff, and that is going to disperse that weight across the hips. All right, so we got our heavy weight here. You are not coming to your neck. You're going to press through the heels and lift those hips, making sure your ribs aren't flaring up. They stay in line with your shoulders through to your hips, femurs, and then knees. So what we're going to do here is we're going to lower, lift, and then if you want, you can extend a leg. Lower, lift, extend. Now if you extend that leg and your hips start to go wonky, you don't want that. You can bring your feet in a little closer, if that's helpful. You don't have to do that extension at all. You can just do the weighted bridges, all right? Ready? 45 seconds on. Here we go. Starting with that bridge, lower, lift, lower, lift. Now this is a 20 because that's what I grabbed, but you can easily grab something heavier than this. This is a lot of strong muscle for most people, all right? However, if you add in that leg extension, that changes the dynamic of this exercise. It's gonna slow you down. You wanna focus on the stability of that pelvis. Down, up. If this is too much in those hamstrings, don't give me that extension. Figure out what's going on with your form through the lower half of the body. Make sure that your knees and your hips and your feet are all the same distance apart. Now your bear kick through. We'll start with what a bear is. A bear is all fours, tucking those toes and just hovering. Here, if this is what you want to do for 45 seconds, great. If not, you rotate, kick through, and come back center. Rotate, kick through, come back center. Now you can take this on the ground, or you can leave it extended up in the sky. Reach, center, reach, pull that arm back. Reach, center, reach. Again, this is a challenging move. There are a lot of moving pieces. Bear, if you are not familiar with bear, it's a hover, right? So I'm pressing, lifting here. It's not an extension up here, just that hover. Good. Ready, set. Back to it. Lift, kick. Lift, kick. Be mindful of your hip height. I know you're tired. You've been doing such great work. Lower, lift. Lower, lift. Don't forget, here is perfectly acceptable. Great. My weights have crept in on me. Lifting. Number one. Good. Then you start that rotation through. If you feel like you're falling back into position, you want to modify what you're doing because you don't want to collapse into it. You want to control it. So slow it down. Maybe don't come as far into your kick through. Maybe instead of having that foot stay elevated, tap it on the ground so it's closer and easier for you to drag back to that initial position. You want to make sure you're gripping down through your hands so you're not getting that pressure in the wrists. This shouldn't be that bad because you're transitioning one arm to the next, but do what you can manage. Last time through, guys. Good. First, press up. Make sure those ribs are in line. Yes, no flaring here. That's what that looks like. I know I'm wearing all black, so it's hard to see, but make sure those ribs are down in line. Shoulders through the rib cage, through to the hips, through that femur. That's this big bone here to the knee, and shoot your energy out to the opposite wall. Lower, lift, extension if you want. Lower, lift. When you lower down, make sure you take your ribs with you. You can't leave them up in the sky. That's no good for that thoracic spine. Up, lower, lift, extension. Good. Almost there. Beautiful job, guys. Into those bear kick throughs. Whew. Almost, almost, almost. That. Control it. When you come back, make sure your knees line up underneath your hips. Make sure your hands are still underneath your shoulders. Every time you come back center, evaluate what your position is. Just about 10 seconds left. Very good. We've got one last core exercise to do, and that's for a minute. All right. Now it's a Russian twist. If you have issues with your lower back, there are ways to modify this. Okay? But you don't even have to do this if it makes you uncomfortable. You're gonna grab one weight. You're gonna grab it end to end. All right, so you're gonna bring your knees up. Toes don't have to be glued to the ground. They can come up. What you don't want is to have your feet too extended here. Okay, so I'm gonna put this to the side for a second. Breastbone is lifted, shoulders are back and down. What we're gonna do is from the hip, we're gonna hinge back. Only to a point that you can stay supported in. If you come back and your chest starts to come forward and your belly starts to come forward and you start to arch your back, it's not the right position for you. Okay, so this position, just by itself, is a great position to hold, all right? So if this is where you begin and end in this exercise, I'm proud of you. Know your limits. Adding in a weight, or even not, you rotate to the side, center. The center point is important to me because I don't want you just wrenching your lower back like a dish rag, all right? So side, center, center. Your gaze is following this weight. Side, center. You're not keeping your face forward as those weights come to the side, all right? 1 minute on the clock, ready, set, go. Side, center, side. Try and get the elbow behind the body. Center, side, center, side, center. If you need to come up, side, center, side, center, side, center. If you want to make this harder, hover those feet, side, center, slide, center. What you don't want is rocking, swaying side to side with those knees. Side, center. If you're sure that you've got good form through that lower back, you can go side to side, side to side. Almost there. Make sure that head is following along. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Breastbone is shining. 2, 1. Rest. Very, very good job. Whether or not you know me, I'm super proud of you. This has been a really hard time. So if you're watching this anytime in the future, this is a quarantine exercise, right? 2020, the mess of 2020, and it hasn't even been easy to press play. So if you made it this far, no matter how many times you had to modify, no matter how many breaks you had to take, you did amazing. And that needs to be recognized by not just me, by you. So, great job. We're gonna take a second to stretch, all right? So, what I want you to do is clear your space, and you're going to come down to your mat. Stretching is my favorite, and most of us fly right out of class, and we only take a couple seconds to stretch anyway, but really, this is something we should be doing on our own every day. Taking care of your body, a little bit of self-care. So, feet down. If this is uncomfortable on your lower back, you can pull those feet flat, knees bent. But what I want you to do is palms up to the sky, closing your eyes. And I want you to just breathe. And there is no right and no wrong. As long as you're breathing, it's perfect. So in and out, however your body is telling you to do. Don't be scared of any noise that your breath makes. Allow it to happen. There's a lot of energy there in your breath. Your breath will settle. Your heart is still a little high. That's all right. Your breath actually helps control that heart rate. Exhaling is going to slow it down a little bit. So I want you to keep that in mind as you inhale and as you exhale. Good. As you inhale, I want you to go poke around with your mind's eye and figure out if you're holding tension anywhere. Big spot that we hold tension is right in our back sides. If you've got any tension, wherever it is that you've recognized that you have some on your exhale, I want you to release it. Good, so what we're going to do is we're going to systematically tense up our body before we get into our good stretching. What I want you to do is just keep in mind that if any of your body starts, any part of your body starts to cramp, I need you to immediately relax that. You're not going to work your way through a cramp here, okay? So once I tell you to engage a body part, I want that part to stay engaged until the very end when we will hold our breath for a series of moments and then we will let everything go. At the very end, you will feel like a radiating, pulsating ball of energy, and you are going to just live in that radiance and that energy for a second before you relax and completely melt down into the ground. So we're going to start with our feet. This can be a tricky one, so if you get any crampiness in your feet, I want you to immediately let go. I want you to move up into your calves. Go ahead and tense those up for me. Now keep everything tense. Move up into your hamstrings. That's from the back of your knee up to that little smile line on your bum. I want you to sweep forward into your quads. That's from the hips in the front down to the knees in the front, those big muscles in the front of your leg. I want you to glide backwards into your glutes. Everybody knows what the glutes are, those bum muscles, squeezing everything. Now, as you continue to squeeze, sometimes opposing muscles, you can't really keep a good contraction on both sides at the same time. That's okay, just do your best. I want you to tuck your tailbone just a little bit so you can pull that belly in, moving your ribs to your hips, engaging the core in the front, those deep, deep pelvic floor muscles. No tension here in the neck. Don't let that start to creep up. Good, I want you to move up into the back, the lower part of your back from your shoulder blades down to your hips, sweeping forward into your chest. If you are a woman, this is a harder muscle to engage. Just try, do your best. Sweep back into your shoulder blades, up into the caps of your shoulders, moving down into your arms, biceps, triceps, forearms, fists. Those connecting muscles from your shoulders to your neck, get those traps. And squeeze, hold your face, your breath, everything for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. As hard as you can, squeeze harder. 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. Pro tip, that's a really great thing to do right before you go to sleep if you have trouble going to sleep. Go ahead and pull those knees into your chest, rocking side to side, loosening up that lower back. Inhale, exhale, bring that right leg down, left knee in. Go ahead and take that left arm, bring it perpendicular to the body, palm facing down. You're going to take your left leg and you are going to bring it to the right side of your body. Now as you do that, it's very important to note that my left shoulder is staying anchored. If it pops up off the ground, I've over-rotated past what my body can support and I don't need to go that far. Okay, so the shoulder stays down. I'm taking my left knee, dropping it, twisting it, twisting it. Now when I do that, I need to take my right hip and scoot it back to the center. So push it underneath the body. Good. So ideally, I am in a nice long line from the crown of my head through my thoracic spine, which is right in the middle. Think about behind your ribs. Through my lumbar spine down here and through that extended leg underneath me. If you can, go ahead and look out to the left, look out to that extended leg. Don't press on the knee. You are only going to need to go so deeply into this exercise, or stretch. Inhaling back center, moving that right hip back over to the right. Take your left ankle, put it across your right knee, reach behind your right thigh, keeping the back of your head down. Make sure the chin doesn't start to pop up toward the sky. Pull it in nice and close to the body. And breathe. Good release. Taking that right knee, pulling it in toward the chest. Left leg is down. Right arm comes down perpendicular from the body, palm faces down. Inhale, exhale, tip that right knee over to the left, moving the left hip underneath and towards the right, looking out to the right. Nice straight line through the body, from crown to toe. Good, inhale, pull it back center, moving that left hip back to position. Ankle comes over the left knee, reach behind the left leg, keeping your head down. Pull it in nice and close. If you want to lean up into this stretch, that's perfectly fine, as long as you don't have too much tension up here on the neck. And release. Good. Feet down, knees up. Keeping your shoulders anchored, just move them side to side. Good, I'm going to have you roll to your side. It doesn't matter which side, we're doing both. Take this top leg, make sure your hips are stacked. Grab it right at the ankle, knees together, pressing into that hand. If this is not a manageable stretch for you, if you have a towel, a belt, some sort of strap, even the little tie to your bathrobe, you can loop it right around if you have a mini band, all right, or even a regular exercise band. You can loop it right around the top of your foot and pull it up. Good, this is a nice, good stretch for your quad. Release, you're going to just roll over. I'm going to completely shift sides here for you. Good, same thing here. Keep in mind it's not going to feel the same on one side that it does on the other. Your body is not equally as loose or tight from side to side, and that's okay. Great job releasing that. Go ahead and move to your belly. I'm going to have you have your hands back into your armpits, roll the shoulders back, anchor down with those knees, and I want you to press back into child's pose. There are several different ways to do this. If you want, you can pull your knees a little farther apart. If you want, you can have them in a little closer, but for right now, I want this to be active. So pressing into those palms to feel a broadening between the shoulder blades. Stretch those out. Head comes down. Taking your right hand, reaching through. Good, reaching through that space between your left hand and your left knee. Trying to rotate that shoulder underneath. You ideally would like it to be stacked here, so think about rotating that top shoulder back. And center, inhale, exhale, switch sides for me. Still sinking down into those hips. Center, go ahead and drop those hands, touch, bend at the elbow, touch the back of your neck. And come down. Very good. You're going to come up to all fours here. I'm going to switch sides again. All fours. So shoulders and hands are lined up. Knees and hips are lined up, not just front to back, but side to side as well. All right, go ahead and tuck those toes for me. I'd like you to drop it down. So let the head come up, belly drops nice and low. Starting at the tail, you're going to tuck and roll up, allowing the chin to come closer to the chest, pressing up into that spine and down. Now there are different ways to breathe there ultimately. As long as you're breathing, that's good. And let it down one more time. Up. If you forgot to tuck those toes, now's the time to do it. I want you to press into your toes, lift the knees, sink back into the heels. Take the energy out of your hands, move it down through your forearms, through your elbows, through those biceps, triceps, into the shoulders, and let it continue on into the back and shoot out from those hips, letting the heels fall as close to the ground as you can. Good, come up onto the toes and sink down to the heels. One more time, up and down. Gently moving those hands back to your feet. Hang out here for 1 second. Soft knees, please. Hanging heavy. Release those hands, rooting through the heels, pressing up that back side of the body. Roll up. Everything stays heavy until it's its turn to stack up on top of that spine. Shoulders back. Good. Step apart for me. Breathe up. And down. One more time. Up. Hold it here. Bring it to the side. And up. Other side. Down. Up one more time. And down. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.